Hello everyone, and welcome to my Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia low turn count playthrough. I'm USS Gordon Captain, and I'm here with...
The Chungler, and I'm going to help out recording Zofia Gate.
So... This
map is bad. This map is like the hardest map on Alm's route. I'm just going to say it straight up.
Yeah, so, as an example... Normally, I could pull the calves by just having Cliff charge forward, but this map is so dangerous that that's not actually a safe strategy. So instead, we're actually just going to delay pulling the calves by a turn. The reason we do this primarily is to kill two archers, the first one in the center row. And the reason we need to kill these two archers is that they'll just chip your units down, and you'll just get enemy player units killed otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, even Cliff with like 7 base Myrmidon defense still takes a decent amount of damage from them, and he would have to get chipped. He would get chipped by them like over the course of like 2 turns and be really bad.
So here Tobin one-rounds these archers, which is not always going to be the case. Tobin needs 10 strength to do that. If Tobin has Excalibur, he can actually do it more reliably, which as you saw, he got it on this player phase. But if I had grinded for Tobin's Excalibur, that wouldn't have been necessary.
Cliff is now getting in range of Slade's group of Cavaliers, and despite only being attacked by a few of them, he'll bait over the entire group, which is nice. So we can kind of start attacking them en masse.
The important thing to note about Mage Grace positioning is that he can't be attacked by any of the archers on this turn, but on the next turn, he will be able to attack them on player phase. Cliff's positioning here is important because it baits this one archer to attack him at 2 range, so he gets eyes to the lightning sword. 2 enemy calves will come in and attack him. Every time Cliff double hits an enemy cavalier, that enemy cavalier will be put into heal AI on the next turn, whereas if he single hits them, they won't be.
Yeah, so the basic idea with this map is that if Cliff hits both of his lightning swords on a cav, you want to kill that one. And if Cliff single hits a cavalier, then you can leave that one alive because it'll still keep targeting you on enemy phase. The next big obstacle for this clear is the Slade kill. We have Tobin try for an Excalibur crit here, but he doesn't get it. So we're going to have to resort to a backup strat.
Yeah, so the important parts of the backup strat, we have 3 units who are in range, 4 kind of with Clive, but Clive can't actually do enough damage. Alm with Wrath Strike, Cliff with the possibility of double hitting with the lightning sword, and Tobin with the possibility of Excalibur critting. So 3 of those 4 attacks have to hit.
Thankfully, Tobin has pretty good hit rates with Excalibur and Alm with Wrath Strike.
Yeah, so it's only really like 1 of 2 lightning sword attacks that's kind of shaky. So Clive, unfortunately, as you can tell, it just doesn't do enough damage to be relevant. Clive plus Claire could actually get the kill, but that was actually less reliable because Claire wouldn't be able to stand on any of the flanking squares, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So Alm picks up the kill here instead. A little bit unfortunate for EXP distribution, but we'll take it anyway. And here's Gray starting his crusade against the left-hand side archers, which he 1-round KOs with a strength proc.
He also needs a speed proc to get the 1-hit KO because otherwise he doesn't double. So this enemy phase is like one of the less precarious ones. Now that Slade is dead, the enemies actually have very low quality. Like, I know these calves are super dangerous and I was super scared of them since they were better than Cav Clive, but since we did so much grinding, they're not that dangerous anymore. And Cliff's defense level up is quite nice.
Yeah, so Cliff has pretty good odds of survival. He just needs to get healed at some point, either by himself or by Faye. Faye gets warped in here because we kind of ran out of good warp targets, and at least Faye does decent damage with Nosferatu, even if her hit rates are kind of spotty. She can also heal someone if needed with Recover.
If Faye had Physic by this point, I would have been able to avoid needing to give Cliff a mana herb, which would have been quite nice.
Yeah, it frees up Cliff's player phase action, which is good.
Yeah, frees up Cliff's player phase action, which importantly allows him to avoid needing to be placed adjacent to Alm. Since Cliff has better res than Alm, this means that the Arcanist is going to target Alm, which means like I should have had the Lightning Sword equipped to Alm instead of what I end up doing, which is having the Lightning Sword equipped to Cliff.
One other kind of notable thing that's been happening in the background here has been Python chipping away or attempting to chip away at the soldier on the top of the castle. This guy's really annoying. He's really similar to the soldier in the southern outpost that just doesn't do anything. He's not really a threat to anyone, but we do have to route him to clear the map, so we have to dedicate a lot of shots with Python to kill him, as well as have Claire chip in as well.
Yeah, one interesting strategy I've seen is that you can try to bait this guy with Claire, and then a better unit like Clive would be able to do all the combat. So here, Cliff goes through the convoy to eat a mana herb. He should have traded his Lightning Sword with Alm, because that way Alm would have had an enemy phase against an Arcanist. But since we didn't do that, we have to rely on a fairly unreliable Claire kill instead for the soldier. Here, another notable thing is Faye. So Faye has been in the background trying to get to level 6 so she can get Physic before 3-1, which is an extremely important map to have Physic for.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice that she's picking up some EXP here on the Cavaliers. They like targeting her because of her low defense. Also, we get to see some Forsyth combat because everyone's got to do something.
Yeah, every unit, it's just SOV tradition that any unit, no matter how bad people call them, is going to do something no matter what, because it's just like every unit is free deployment.
Here we're going to do the Lightning Sword trade chain that we should have done on enemy phase, as well as taking out one of the Cavaliers with Excalibur. And once Tobin gets Excalibur, he does a lot of damage to the Cavaliers because he can double them.
Yes. Excalibur is a one-weight spell. One important thing, though, about spells in Shadows of Millennia is that you can only use them on player phase. Every single player unit spell on enemy phase is either Nosferatu or Fire, depending what type of mage you are.
Yeah, so Tobin doesn't get to use it on enemy phase, but on his player phase, he can do a lot of damage with it. We also have Paladin Clive chipping in here. Paladin Clive is a really nice promotion for this map because it allows him to double the Cavaliers. He could even double them with a Steel Lance if Claire wasn't using it. And his bulk is also really nice too.
You can bait this soldier here, which obviously is the most shaky part of the map, is getting this random soldier dead. And if you bait them with Clive instead, it's a much cleaner kill. But since I didn't do the enemy phase trick with what's his name? With Alm, it wasn't possible. So here we are just on the home stretch in terms of killing enemies. And we're gonna try to kill this knight with an Excalibur critical. Since it fails, the best way to kill him is probably with Clive or Alm. And we also need to kill that random Cav in the corner. We don't have the ability to block all the heal tiles because we have to kill that archer which barely lets us block the heal tiles. Instead, what I do is I have Faye talk to Alm. Faye's support with Alm is the worst support in the game, both in terms of story and in terms of her stats. So can you explain what Faye's support does?
Yeah, so she gets plus hit and plus crit, which is good, but she also gets minus a void from her Alm support. So some interesting story gameplay integration there. But it's situationally bad. Sometimes it's okay.
Here I needed it for the extra hit on Nosferatu. Nosferatu Fae is actually one of the Faes that most wants to have the Alm support, because increasing enemy hit rates matters much less than increasing your own hit rate, since every time you hit the enemy, they die. So that was the legendary Battle of Zofia Castle, cleared in 6 turns. There is a 5-turn possible, but the only reliable way to do that involves Physic Fae, which I didn't grind for, and probably would also want Excalibur Tobin.
Yeah, it's definitely like, and even with Physic Fae and Excalibur Tobin, it's not as clean as the 6th turn, because having to do things in 1 fewer turn is pretty rough on your hits on especially that soldier in the corner. But yeah, we're going back to Thief's Shrine here. This is to promote Cliff, or Python, who leveled up in Zofia Gate.
Yes, Python needs to promote to Sniper. The whole reason we decided to do this was because we don't want to have to fight enemy reinforcements on the map screen. And so instead of giving Python levels and then promoting him later, we promote him now by grinding.
Yeah, it also, the main reason we're doing it is map spawns, but it also gives Python a nice head start on his promotion to Bow Knight. He might get there anyway, but it also gives him chances to get stats as a sniper, which is nice too.
The major objective, which I failed to achieve, is I failed to get Claire swap before the end of this map, which means that I will need to get Claire swap in 3-1 if I want to get a 1 turn of 3/3.
Yeah, it's not going to be too bad because Claire got a lot of combats with the Leather Shield in the grinding fights, but it's definitely something we want to be aware of and not forget to do.
Notably, I do not pick up any items here in Zofia Castle. Celica is actually going to want a lot of the items from Alm in this map. Notably, she's going to want the blue cheese and the steel lance and the iron shield. And if I have Alm take any of these items, that would be really bad. Since Alm starts the map in Zofia Castle anyway, it's not like I need to...
Yeah, there's no reason to pick them up now, because if we start in Zofia Castle in Act 3, we can just pick up whatever we need then.
So that was Act 1, completed in 34 turns. And I'll see you guys next time, where I begin Act 2, where Bowie solos the entire game.
See ya.